This is the European edition of Breaking Banks, the world's #1 fintech podcast and radio show. We bring you the European unicorns, startups, founders, regulators, and leaders innovating the rapidly evolving fintech scene today. A truly localized podcast with both English and local language content, with some of the world's most well-known hosts and influencers in the fintech sector globally. Join us every week as we explore what makes the European Union a phenomenal proving ground for many of the fastest growing fintech plays in the world today. Okay, let's roll.
Hey guys, welcome back to Breaking Banks Europe. I am Matteo Rizzi, the executive producer of the show. This is like an Easter show, 171, episode 171. I'm here with Lukas Enzersdorfer, the CEO of Bitpanda. Lukas, welcome to Breaking Banks Europe.
Hi Matteo, great to be here. Thank you very much for welcoming.
So let's start. At most of Europe and abroad, further knows Bitpanda, but a couple of words about you, your role, how you came up co-founding the company. Let's dive straight into this episode that has been built for and with you guys.
Sure, thank you very much. I think the important topic to know what is Bitpanda is we started in 2014, actually to solve back then the problem of how can I buy Bitcoin as easy as possible. And as you can imagine, in 2014, buying Bitcoin was not just very, I would say complex, because technically very, very heavy to do, but especially it was super hard to actually get the know-how of setting the stuff up. So we came up with building an easy to use platform solution, bitpanda.com, to actually enable retail users to invest into crypto assets and cryptocurrencies. And we scaled this business since then to up to 4 million users in Europe. We are highly regulated, and we are offering now 230 different crypto assets on our platform for these 4 million users. And what we've seen in the last 2 years now, especially, is that the traditional financial service industry is moving even stronger also now in the space. Board members of banks are thinking about how can I also leverage blockchain technology and offer crypto to my customers to a certain degree. And this is when we started with our Bitpanda Technology Solutions, which is a SaaS software business where we offer our technology we've built and the license framework we have to banks to exactly offer blockchain services or blockchain-based services like crypto trading to their customers. And therefore super happy to be here in Breaking Banks today, because I believe that that's a service and a topic which actually is very relevant to be not broken at a certain point in time as a bank.
Absolutely. Just because I want to always give a little personal touch, Lukas, you and I met in Milan during the FinTech Summit last year for the first time. We had a super nice conversation, but I actually never asked, what is your a personal relationship, with crypto, and how did you were born into this world, or what brought you to feel so passionate about it?
Sure, it's a super valid topic. So on the one side, I'm personally interested in the financial markets, so stocks market and so on, since I'm 16. Started investing back then quite early, so it was just a hobby and super curious about it. I also studied banking and finance at university, and for me it was always clear to go into the financial service industry. However, along the way, I think it was in 2015, then especially I got a lot of exposure actually to all the cryptocurrency area. Some friends of mine here in Vienna actually decided, as I said, in 2014, to start Bitpanda, and I was always curious about that space because, and I think that's the beauty of it, it's not so much about that cryptocurrencies are a new form of payment. It's much more, on the one side, a store of value, and on the other side, it's an asset class. It's super similar to existing regulated financial services, but it's technologically wise how it should be in the 21st century. Because super small topic, but think about capital markets. They are only open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 with pre-market and aftermarket trading. Crypto trades 24/7, 365 days a year. And if I want to decide on New Year's Eve to actually buy Bitcoin, I can do that. normal banks are not offering any trading services because the old software is like doing batching and accounting and all the stuff they need to do outside of trading hours. And therefore, I believe blockchain technology is simply how financial service industry and the financial market should be in the 21st century. And therefore, I believe crypto is a super interesting use case to actually enable that.
It's interesting how, as you know, I've been in this space in what we call fintech since more or less 2009 when I was still at Swift. And I still remember like vividly, when we tried to explain, blockchain, Bitcoin, and actually even Ethereum when Vitalik came to show, their, brand new invention, to the bankers. And I still remember this, eyes wide open, some skeptical, some completely sort of placed out, right, by someone so young explaining such a complex technology. And I wonder in this like 15 years, the banking industry came back, into believing that there is a way to conciliate, as you said, the crypto as an asset class with maybe a small portion, right, of the investment of their clients. And this is where I believe Bitpanda Technology comes in, right?
Exactly. I think what you mentioned is a super valid topic. Doesn't matter if it's a retail customer or a high net worth individual or even a corporate business. What we've seen over the last year, a couple of years especially, is that more and more European business really invest into that asset class a certain amount of their portfolio, between 1 to 3 or 5% actually. It doesn't matter if it's like for me as a retail investor to invest, but also like balance sheet management for corporates. So across Europe, we already have an adoption of around about 20% into crypto assets, into cryptocurrencies. However, this is growing, and how can I, as a financial or as a bank, for example, or as a financial service industry player, not afford long term to at least offer some services? And this can be just custody of these assets, right? Because nobody wants to more or less custodize the assets on his or her own once they have a certain size. It's a security topic. However, whom do you trust most with your money, with your valuable assets? Normally, it's your bank, right? It's the most trustworthy institution, or at least it should be, where you store a lot of value for you personally or for you as a company. And therefore, I personally also believe that long-term, also adoption for crypto assets will go hand in hand with the adoption of blockchain technology and crypto for traditional banks.
By the way, you just made me realize, personal revelation, even if it won't reveal that much, that actually, indeed, 1% of my assets is invested in crypto. And I'm using, I'm not yet a Bitpanda client, full disclosure, but the amount is so irrelevant that you're not missing on a billionaire, so it's fine. I think you can forgive me. But, and this being said, and this being said, it is true that having yet another platform that is basically, it is leaving it up to me whether or not I understand it, which cryptocurrency I buy, and it is not integrated with the rest of my assets. One brings me yet another security token, password to remember, very complex, security layer, on the top of it. But two is not consolidated. So I believe that, and the question underlying it is, who do you think is the typical sort of financial services client, for Bitpanda Tech? Because I am banking with one of the two top Portuguese banks, for example, which I promise to make you a proper introduction to, as so you'll forgive me not to be a client yet. And it is really, a stack that they might not be super familiar with. And it will cost so much to build it over. And if you have something which is ready to go, is comparable to all these fintechs that, for example, are building lending facilities for a bank. The analogy works, right, in this case?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, we definitely are going to change to at least get some Bitpanda exposure, either via directly being customer of our platform or via one of our B2B partners. We can make that happen. But yeah, I think to come to your point, what you currently see in the market over the last 6 to 12 months is that due to the FTX disaster, meaning the fraud of roughly $9 billion US dollars of customer funds from the FTX, the exchange on the Bahamas situated, due to being not regulated, due to being no controls and measures there and just like frauding their customer base, a huge lack of trust has occurred on retail investor side, but also on businesses for crypto exchanges and crypto platforms, especially for unregulated ones. And what happened is that before, people were always on the lookout for the newest feature or something very specific to or modern for the platform. Suddenly, it's much more in line with the values and the USPs of a bank, meaning being the trustworthy, secure player, regulated. There is this saying, you always know where you can go and sue the bank if you need something. So it's local, right? So you see a huge shift of the existing users back to regulated players, for example, in Europe. And on the other side, you also see the interesting shift about banks starting now to think about what is the blockchain strategy and what is the crypto asset strategy, because more or less this goes hand in hand. For sure, a lot are still hesitating to start crypto trading, but crypto custody, for example, is always the first step into offer a certain value for the users. However, and you just mentioned it, you're banking with one of the top tier or top one actually banks in Portugal. It doesn't matter if it's a small regional bank or if it's one of the top 5 European ones, everyone is looking into it. And everyone has the same question here, it needs to answer, make or buy. And if I buy, is it an all-in-one solution or of breed? So it's typically SaaS software decision-making in a bank with a huge impact because it's a completely new technology. And mostly the knowledge is very limited in-house. And that's actually where we see where conversations and workshops can add the most value to educate people within financial institutions about the nuances and the differences of operating such services and software. Because one thing is buying some piece of software like crypto custody, but how to actually operate it has completely different aspects. But don't want to like bore anyone here with all these details. That's I think a podcast on its own.
I actually about this like the crypto facilities, right? Both in terms of custodies and investment that Bitpanda Technology is allowing banks to buy. But that's not the only thing that you guys license, right? From fractional stock to ETFs to commodity, if I understood correctly, every single piece of the Bitpanda stack that you guys are offering to your clients, to your retail clients, is going to be potentially implementable in the B2B version, right?
Exactly. So what we learned over the last years is that we are especially really good at building product technology and in a regulated way. So therefore, what we did is we have a very modular infrastructure and we're offering crypto trading services. We offer custody services for crypto assets, but also for blockchain tokens in general. We offer market data provider. We offer crypto compliance systems, and we also offer all different other kinds of features, like fractional stocks. So it's a kind of like tokenized or tokenized stocks, ETFs, commodities even to partners. And for example, on the crypto side, we are live with N26, the largest continental neobank from Germany, but across Europe with N26 Crypto, the crypto offering. But we are also live with, for example, Hype, that's the neobank of Banca Sella in Italy, with the offering of fractional stocks trading. And there you see how we enable partners within their app, their online banking, their mobile app, that their users can easily buy and invest into these assets, trade them short-term and invest long-term.
So actually, indirectly, I'm already a client of you guys through Numbers Disease. So indeed, so I am partially, for now, I'm partially forgivable. Listen, look, I want to talk a little bit about, we talked about like the bank side of it, and there is more than one sort of reasonable, strong motivation for these guys to sort of outsource, this sort of almost new asset class and new way of, facing a specific type of investors. But on the investor side, I am not a crypto expert, and yet, I'm fortunate enough to talk with my peers every day and to understand a little bit where I put my money, right? And of course, we are talking about building an asset class on a market that is super volatile by definition. And I always say, the ignorant are the ones who, have lost most of the money, because it tendentially, the mass are saying that, the same guys are getting richer and there are more and poor guys getting poorer, without a financial education. And this is even more important in crypto. What's your view, and who should have the task, to give that tools to be able to understand what they're putting their hands on?
Yeah, 100% signed the statement of importance of financial education and financial literacy. I think, to be completely blunt, normally the state actually needs to, as part of school education, also give you a certain financial education, but that's completely missing in most European countries, and that's the reason why also capital market penetration of retail investors is still very, very low. However, therefore, I would say market participants need to actually jump in and educate users. And I think the interesting journey is, especially in that regards, about a lot of crypto investors. Like a lot of people across Europe started the first time investing just in general in their life with buying crypto, a high risk, high yield asset class, which normally you would, just from a rational thinking perspective, not say is like the entrance point of starting investing. Everybody would think about, first let's do a long-term ETF savings plan in some ETF, for example, which is very large but low risk in general, depending on what ETF it is and so on, right? However, they started with a high risk yield asset class, and only later on explored or discovered the financial markets and then diversified it to stocks, ETFs, and other asset classes. This is only due to one thing. It's about the entrance barrier. It's very, very low for crypto assets. You can start with small amounts of money. There is very user-friendly onboarding processes. You do not have this feeling about, capital markets, huge. It's just, in Bitcoin crypto, let's try it out for €5. It goes up, great. It goes down, not that good. So where does financial education need to start? It's where the customer is, meaning at these platforms, at these players. And we need to educate users, retail, but also corporates actually, about what the asset class is, how this works, in what you're investing, what the differences is to invest in the technologically driven project or in some community driven project. Technologically driven Ethereum is a very good example. Community driven, I think Dogecoin is there always one of the most well-known one. And how to handle that. And on the other side, reduce the barrier of entry also on more traditional asset classes. It's meaning tokenization of ETF, stocks, financial markets, to make it accessible. Because one thing is educating users, the other thing is giving them an easy way to try it out with very limited risk exposure, meaning if you lose €10 or 15, it does not hurt you as much as if you would need to invest 100 or even more to just start with it, right? And that's, I think, is the important aspect actually. So short answer to your question, we as platforms, the banks as partners, but also with much lower entry barriers. And then it boils down to fintech and building great user experience for existing services.
Super important point, Lukas, super important point. So let's go now into a short break and we will come back talking about, how customizable are, this product that you can build for your clients, and how is your platform, how is Bitpanda Technology helping your clients to pick their portfolio? Is that, once you evaluate their risk attitude, do they have to build their portfolio themselves, or can they get a piece of, asset class that are already built for them? Is it completely customizable, and so on? So if you want to have the answer to all these questions, stay with us, and we're going to go into a short break.
Bitpanda Technology Solutions is the most scalable investing-as-a-service infrastructure available in Europe and globally. The platform allows fintechs, traditional banks, and online platforms to offer trading, investing, and custody services across stocks, ETFs, cryptocurrencies, precious metals, and commodities. Partners can build their own user experiences on an ISO 27001 certified and battle-proofed infrastructure. This infrastructure is set up as a modular system to enable our partners to pick and choose from our features such as saving plans, asset-to-asset swaps, crypto staking, fractionalised stocks, or full blockchain, and more services via one API connection. Bitpanda, your design or technology. Go to bitpanda.com for more.
Hey guys, welcome back to episode 171. We are here with Lukas Enzersdorfer, Deputy CEO and COO of Bitpanda. This is actually a Bitpanda brought to you episode where we talk not only about crypto as a new asset class, but specifically into Bitpanda technology that will allow a number of financial institutions to serve their clients with a stack completely outsourced and regulated. And I assure you, I didn't know about it before. So that's something that is new to me. So the question I'm asking are because I am genuinely intrigued by the solution. So intrigued, Lukas, that I'm asking you right now, once your client has implemented the stack in their facility, and it is not in their facility because it's is a SaaS model, obviously. So once they run with it, what is the customer experience? How are the customer interacting with the platform? Is that completely customizable? Are you helping your clients to build product, because you are the experts at the end as well, right?
Sure, super valid topic. So if you think about an investing experience, so it doesn't matter if you want to trade crypto assets or if you want to trade fractional stocks or ETFs, it always boils down to how is the customer experience, how is the user, it doesn't matter if it's a retail user, an individual, or a corporate business customer, how actually do they, or how can they find that service within or normal online banking or digital experience. And I think an important part here to mention is that Bitpanda Tech is built in a way that you can fully seamlessly integrate it into your front ends. Let's take, for an example, N26. The N26 crypto offering is fully embedded into their mobile app, meaning the user is in their app, the user taps on crypto assets, sees the charts, sees the different asset classes, can buy their Bitcoin, and this is completely integrated into the app of N26. So there is no, or it is a great user experience actually, there is no break in that experience. And even with, and I think that's the great caveat we are providing and solving for, even with the fact that the regulatory framework and the licenses are also provided by Bitpanda Tech, meaning we enable N26, also the crypto trading part, therefore, but it's still in one application, so one seamless user experience. Sure, we offer also a front-end application if you want to have it separate, or if a partner does not have any tech resources on his or her side to actually integrate that and start into the online banking. So then you can have some crossover white label front end, which is customized in a colored way and logo way. But, and I think that's actually like the long-term goal always needs to be as a bank to offer the full range. And that's the reason why most of customers, retail and business customers, are at one bank and consuming most of the services there. Therefore, the experience needs to be seamless, and therefore also the experience needs to be fully integrated, because the customer in the end doesn't care about how you provide that service. It's mainly about, hey, I can buy Bitcoin at my bank, and that's trustworthy and that's secure. And that's the main aspect actually.
Do you think that there is, and this is actually, we'll come back about, how do you guys, sort of passport the regulation side, the regulatory side of the business, because I'm actually curious. I'll ask you the question now. So not all your clients will be regulated potentially, right? So some of them might need that particular regulatory piece and this or part of the stack. And how does it work? Do they guys do you do your due diligence before, or is their responsibility to make sure they are sort of compatible to get passported the regulation that you're giving them? How does it work?
Sure.
And I realize that my question is not in sort of super legal terms, but hey, we have 2 million auditors, so I must speak everyone language,
Sure. Valid point. A lot of auditors. My topic simply, or like, how are we regulated? Let's start with that. Bitpanda is operating across Europe a passport MiFID II investment firm license. We are operating an e-money license, but we're also operating 11 different crypto licenses and registrations across Europe. Why? There is not yet a harmonized license framework which is passportable. This will come, which is called MiCA, which is currently still in negotiations, and then at the European Commission level, actually in the approval process. But until then, there is local legislation. And there is a German regulatory framework for crypto companies. There's an Austrian one, a French one, a Spanish one, an Italian one, Danish one, and so on. And we are regulated in 11 different markets. As of today, the most regulated crypto asset provider in Europe. In that regards. And exactly as you said, if a partner wants to either go live with, for example, a crypto offering or also fractional stocks offering and does not have any license, we can provide the framework. But also if, that's the much more common use case actually, a fully regulated banking license, so banking grade European license, wants to go live offering crypto trading services, but do not want to have the exposure to crypto assets on their own balance sheet, because it triggers certain risk-weighted asset equity requirements. It triggers internal controls and additional requirements from a compliance perspective and risk management perspective. You can also outsource like these services legally, regulatory-wise, to still Bitpanda, and we provide it out of our license, but through the bank and the online banking, which is exactly very nice, because you see then the customer for sure knows that he's interacting with Bitpanda, but he's completely seamlessly integrated into the experience of the bank. And you as a bank legally do not have any risk or compliance exposure to that service, but still can offer the service, can earn on it, and create a revenue stream additionally out of the users. And that's actually the beauty. I can give you all the legal details, but I guess this will take much longer than we have as of today.
No, I think it was your answer was much clearer than my question, and super understandable. And actually, it leads me to something else, which is, what kind of conversations are, what is your killing sales argument, when you speak with potential clients? Because, looking at it from an external point of view, I'm basically saying that, this is public, right, Lukas? How much do you have in asset under management? Couple of billions? What is it, right? So every billion that is on Bitpanda's platform is a billion stolen from somehow, the more institutional financial players, right? That would be my basic.
Sure.
And that alone should be a good enough compelling argument. So
it's
I'm curious.
Easier if I just may jump in here. Like, you as a bank just need to do one exercise. You need to look into your transactional bank or like payments banking flow, and need to look like how much has your customer base in the last 12 to 24 months actually withdrawn on fiat money, euros or any other currencies, to crypto exchange. Because like the Euro bank accounts, for example, for the crypto exchanges, you can find out very easily. If not, call me and I'm happy to provide with this.
Yeah.
And then simply look into how much money was flowing out. And then you need to think about, okay, every euro which goes out gets turned around about 5 times or so per year. And if you then multiply that amounts by times 5 times the fees these exchanges take, for example, 1.5%, then you can see quite easily calculate how much revenue you're actually losing, which your customer base is already doing as of today, but simply somewhere else because you're not offering the service. And that's the interesting aspect, because it's literally revenue and money, which is provided and paid somewhere else and not within your bank. And that's the interesting aspect. So always an interesting number to look for.
Absolutely. And then but it's also, it's a hypothesis. I also think that the sort of the biggest challenge for you is to calm down their worries on the reputational side, right? Because at the moment that someone who has not touched, these assets, since, its inception, all of a sudden how to communicate it to their client, what is the perception that the market is going to have, even if you could actually segregate the platform, as you just mentioned. But I'm curious about how these conversations are going, because indeed there is no bank in the world that is not thinking about it. At least the CEO, at the like a macro level. But I wonder, how much is the work of the CEO, how much convincing work has been done or has to be yet, to be done?
100% valid topic, and there always comes one example to my mind. Everybody's always worried about this 60-year-old grandmother who is since 50 years customer of bank and suddenly can somewhere in the online banking service or in the branch buy Bitcoin, and then this is super risky, and this woman will lose all her money because she does not know, and so on. Right?
Watch out, because in 7 years I will be that granddad. You need to add 10 years to that if you still want to do a podcast with me in a while. So say 70.
Got it. Then it's the 70-year-old guy. Got it. Grandpa. So my topic simply is, it's a super valid point, but you do not need to roll out to everyone, right? Back to the topic I said in the beginning. Just have a look who already is doing that business somewhere else, and then start offering that service to that customer base, or to your high net worth individuals who are also looking for that service actually, or to your business customers because they actually want to simply do it for treasury reasons, for asset diversification. So there is a large amount of customers and user base actually where you simply can start in small steps. There will not be a big bang in starting, oh, now I offer crypto trading to everyone and I'm one of the largest banks in a certain country. No, it will always be, there will be a pilot, then there will be a first rollout phase, then you do it actually for a certain customer segment in the end, and then you learn, because only then you see as an organization, what does that mean, how to make customers react, what knowledge do I need to provide, how is my branch manager and my agents in the branch actually answering questions when someone walks in the branch and says, hey, I heard you, I can buy Bitcoin with you, how can I do that now? And can you hand them over to me or whatever, if they want to do it over the counter? So there are a lot of aspects, and it's a learning journey. But the important topic is to start somewhere, because it will not go away. And you simply need to decide when you want to start. And there's always the risk that your competition on the other side of the street will simply start at a point in the time. And therefore, you need to bear in mind, do you want that they then do that business with, for example, also your customers?
Actually, it's a nice segue to the next question, which is, do you think that in a given market, there is somehow a first mover advantage, right? Because we could argue, if everyone has your platform, and you start like a packaging products, it is literally is not going to be a pricing or a performance issue. Is simply going to be like an allocation, right, or a customer allocation issue. So how important is for let's say a mid-sized bank in a given country to sort of decide quickly in this case? So how big is the first mover advantage in your opinion?
Currently, if you would start doing it, it's very large actually. Why? Because everybody's in the decision making about how to tackle it. Some started already some internal projects to get this back up and running. We also have seen and will see over the last couple of weeks behind us and coming until mid of the year, the first announcements of where to starting to offer the service for each of these markets. Why? Because exactly that. There are banks who always wanted to be more innovative, but didn't have the chance to. And now suddenly the chance to become the first mover for a very modern and technology-driven topic. Or on the other side, you have larger banking groups who are always the innovation driver in a certain market, and therefore say, okay, we also therefore need to tackle that topic now. And as said, nobody will start with the full rollout simply to all the customers on day one, but everybody will start serving a certain customer segment and then extending it based on the learnings. So if you are a mid-sized bank, you actually need to just answer two questions. First, do you want to be perceived more innovative, or on the other side, really want to be? And the second topic is, do you want to add an additional revenue stream to your service offering? And then it's both questions. You can, if you answer that with yes, there can only be currently one topic, and this is starting to offer blockchain-based services, for example, crypto trading to your customers.
And I don't think that our auditors will forgive me if I don't ask you a question related to these market waves, that are going together with with crypto markets since it was born, right? And I want to say, let's leave it aside the first Bitcoin riches, so the guys who somehow made the fortune at the very beginning, and let's start by where these waves. I want to say what, maybe 10 years or something, like 7 to 10 years, and every time the market seems to to follow the bull run and then to lose confidence, and then again a little bit higher. And this is, of course, comparable to other asset class, right? Only with other asset class, what happens in 25 years, it happens in 2.5 years, right? Or maybe a little bit more in the crypto market. So when you say it is to take the risk of entering the wrong side of the wave on a small amount of my capital, if I am sure that I can be patient enough to wait for this to grow again, or simply because philosophically I like to have a part of my money into a completely new asset class, because there are a lot of philosophers, right, around crypto and what the potential can be, etc., etc. But why you seem so positive in say crypto is here to stay?
Yeah, if we think about why actually crypto is here to stay, and I'm completely convinced of that, fact is the reason that blockchain technology is here to stay. Blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, has so many tremendous use cases, which a lot of people always are not getting fully, because they think about, oh, I have a central database, now I have a decentralized database, it's less efficient, it's more inefficient, why should I do that? But DLT, so blockchain technology, is solving one main issue. Every system where there is not yet trust in, and therefore trusted central participants are needed. A good example are simply payment networks or clearing systems or other topics where participants in the market needed to agree on one or several central institutions to actually provide services, so that everybody can be sure that they do not need to trust each other, but they can be sure that if they all trust that central party, then it's going to. This will be solved with a decentralized system, because you can simply trust into blockchain technology, and then you do not need any centralized institution. And this, on the one hand, will bring a lot of cost savings in all different kinds of systems, not just the financial service industry, but logistics, for example, a huge area, identity, also a topic, and a lot of others. And the underlying topic, if you think about blockchain technology, is always about, it doesn't matter if it's proof of work or proof of stake based. With proof of stake is somehow these technologies need to be powered. They need to be incentive systems for the node providers and everybody who puts also their coins at stake, so to say, with rewards. And therefore they need to collect fees by simply how does these networks work. And these are the tokens. these are crypto assets. These are cryptocurrencies, which actually users can get somehow, need to spend to take these types of different technologies, and there is not yet one standard. There are all different layer 1 and layer 2 protocols in all different kinds. So if you think about why should you invest or could you invest into cryptocurrencies as an asset class, it's about the long-term adoption of the underlying technology and participating on the success of different projects within that. And which projects these are, that's a different discussion. And I think everybody can deep dive into all this information separately and make up his or her mind about what coins to buy and to hold. But that's the underlying rationale, actually, independently of market waves and adoption cycles.
Lukas, we talked about the what, the solution per se. We talked about the why and the why now. Okay, we talked about who are the players. What we didn't talk about is the how. So, and the how much, and we're not going to talk about the pricing here, of course. Even if we get the sense of the pricing just because of the structure of the solution, but the idea is how technically challenging is for an institution that traditionally, they have some legacy systems to get integrated on. They, of course, are API friendly because they learn the fintech lessons the hard way. So, how do you say, the ground is fertile for sure. But what is the implementation cycle? And what can you tell about, how resistant is the IT side of it, right? Which is your biggest challenge, not only for the not invented here syndrome, but of course also because the security and the access, et cetera, you must have had these conversations.
100%. So I think if you think about projects, integration, and then also go lives, there are two main aspects. One thing is not the technologically driven one. It's a lot about compliance, risk, reputational risk, financial risks, risk management, operational risk management. When it comes to fully regulated banks, their frameworks, their policies, and for sure also the departments. So there's a lot about education, knowledge exchange, and simply making that happen. On the other side, technologically, it's actually quite straightforward because it depends on how you as a bank want to set up your systems for blockchain custody, for example, where you need to decide, as I said, is it the best of breed solution for all different kinds, or do you get it all in one? Doesn't matter which. More or less, you normally have a project time of 3 to 6 months to actually get something like this up and running, really from concept to production readiness and onboarding the first users into it. Why? Because you need to think of a crypto trade, for example, needs to be also taken care and included if you run that on your side from a license perspective, from a providing service perspective. It's not just about the custody system, the crypto trade, and the front-end application of the user. It's your whole mid and back office processes, right? It's about financial reporting. It's about controlling. It's about accounting. It's about all other systems. Your data warehouse, your BI teams, your data analytics. Everything needs to be fed with these informations. And this is why we always recommend to start with a pilot, very separate from your existing, not just IT stack, but very separate from your existing mid and back office processes, because that's actually the complexity you need to get that in. With an integration model, so in the end, that is just similar to, for example, a stocks custody account. You operate with your customers, where you can actually report on that, where you know the transactions. And to get these connectors between existing systems and new blockchain technology and specific subsystems, therefore, together, that's really the integration work of all of these projects. Completely doable, actually super fast from my perspective for the complexity which is with this underlying blockchain technological systems. But you need to understand, and I think everybody who works in the bank and especially knows architecture, IT architecture pictures, understands the complexity of systems which you need to be taken care of, and you need to consider if you do that. Therefore, 3 to 6 months is actually realistic planning.
In your experience, it start to be easier, to find technical blockchain experts within the banks, right?
Yes, so finding people who have actually an understanding about blockchain is nowadays in all the banks definitely there. The big difference is always now, or what we see is we are beyond the topic of what is blockchain, what are crypto assets, and why would I probably need that. It's much more about really the how. Yes, I as a bank have understood blockchain is here to stay, and I believe in some tokenization use case. No matter if it's security tokens, bond issuings, or other stuff. I also think about how to offer crypto along the way then, but it's much more about the how to make it possible. And that's where now the education, where we have with a lot of partners and clients, and also potential clients, a lot of discussion about how does that target architecture picture from an IT perspective look like? Which components do they need? Good example is, for example, market data, right? Normally for traditional financial markets, you get market data, asset names, prices, live updates, descriptions from a pricing provider like Bloomberg, Reuters, FactSet. In crypto, nothing like this is currently available. So you need to think about, hey, from where can I get the prices and from where can I get the asset names and the asset descriptions and the KPIs and charts and so on, right? This is what, for example, the Bitpanda Tech market data model provides you. Nothing else than exactly that. And this is what I meant at the beginning when it's about, you need to think about what is your architecture picture, you need to think about the components and from where you get them, and then you can pick and choose and get exactly the partners like on your onboarded and signed, where you believe they have the best expertise for their respective field and for their respective item.
My question was, to conclude this show is that I see coming like a Bitpanda Academy, for talents that are either coming out from you guys and are going to serve the clients, or for you guys to start educating the clients on the usage of the platform, because ultimately you're bringing new business, keep safe part of their businesses that otherwise would go simply away or to other players. At the same time, sort of, especially if I'm talking about the new clients, like to put a stick in the ground on a technology that, as you said, is here to stay. And most importantly, more and more clients are seeing as a new unmissable asset, actually me included.
That's great to hear. I personally am also super curious about which of all of the banks like you, myself, are currently banking with will offer crypto assets and crypto trading and when. And later then you can migrate your portfolio actually back to your bank.
Lukas, how can people find more about Bitpanda Tech? I suppose on bitpanda.com you have a full sort of set of info, right? Exactly. Just go there and have a look. If you're curious about, just reach out to me. Otherwise, it was great being here today, and thank you very much for the great show. So on this, guys, that was episode 171, brought to you by Bitpanda on Bitpanda Technology. I'm Matteo Rizzi, and this is a wrap.
Thanks for listening to Breaking Banks Europe, a Provoke Media podcast in cooperation with Fintech Stage. Don't forget to tweet us out, shout out, or post to the team at Breaking Banks EU on Twitter. If there's something or someone you'd like to hear on our cast, let us know. See you next week on Breaking Banks Europe.